I've always been a writer. I've written a lot of productions for church growing up throughout all my years in church, and I've always sang like on a worship team or, you know, solos or whatever. I've done a lot of that kind of stuff. Pretty much any ministry I've ever been involved in is like in front of people, and believe it or not, I'm actually really shy, so it's weird that God always wants me to do things like that, but I force myself to do it, and I love it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But right after all that happened, I was thinking, you know, this is so great, God is so good, He's doing all these great things in my life, and I started really struggling with fear. It got really bad to where I was having a hard time even riding in the car with people. I would have to stare at my phone or out the side window or just do whatever. I couldn't even look at the road in front of me. I was afraid to be in the car. I couldn't write anything. I mean, if I did, it wasn't very good, and I would just get rid of it. There was nothing creative that would come out of me. I was just scared that people were going to hate it, or that it was going to be horrible, and that I was going to be this huge failure. And I joined up with the worship team, and like I said, I've always sang my whole life, and all of a sudden I couldn't sing anymore. And it was this, and I dealt with nervousness and things like that before, but this was different, and it was completely physical. I would feel my heart would pound so bad, like I could see it through my shirt, and I would have sweat just like rolling down my back, and I would feel it, and it would feel like someone was like squeezing my heart and my back. It would be like a cold shiver like down my back. It was like a physical paralyzing fear, and I would open my mouth to sing or to pray or to speak with people, and just like nothing would come out. And I had never dealt with that before, and I know how to pray against things. I know how to speak against things. I know how to read the scripture and claim the scripture in my life. And I kept reading all these scriptures about fear. Do not fear, you know, be not afraid. And I would just quote those over and over and over again. And I would pray, God, you have to take this from me. Like, I literally don't know how I'm going to get through this. I don't understand what you're doing. And no matter how hard I prayed, no matter how many scriptures I quoted, nothing was working. And the fear was getting worse and worse and worse. And at the beginning of this year, we were getting ready to take the teenagers to the AMO conference. And my husband and I, we work with the youth. And I told my husband, maybe I'm just not cut out for any kind of ministry. Maybe God doesn't want me to be a writer. Maybe God doesn't want me to sing. Maybe He doesn't want me to speak. Maybe He doesn't want me to pray. I don't know. But I can't live like this anymore. So when we get home, I'm going to quit everything. I'm done. I'm going to quit the announcements. I'm going to quit singing. I'm going to quit working with the youth. I'm going to quit everything. And there was like so much relief in just saying I'm just going to quit. But then there was a part of my heart that was so sad that I was letting this like beat me. Basically, it was going to have its way in my life, and I didn't want that. And there was actually a point that I actually got really comfortable in my fear, because I didn't have to push myself anymore. I didn't have to let anyone push me. I didn't have to be stretched. I didn't have to grow as a person, because I had this fear in me, and I was like, well, I can just blame it on that. I don't have to be any better. I don't have to try any harder, because I just have all this fear in my life. And I got really comfortable in it, and that scared me too. So on top of all this fear that I was dealing with, I was starting to be afraid of fear itself. So the day came that we were going to go to AMO with all the teenagers, and I was just really excited for them and everything that God was going to do in their lives. And I was praying so hard that they would just have this encounter with God, that their life would just be changed forever. And there was a part of me that was really sad, because I was thinking, this is like the last thing I'm probably going to do with them. But I was excited for them at the same time. And wouldn't you know, so we go there, and I'm praying for all these teenagers, and the second night of conference, they had this pastor that they flew in from Australia, and she started preaching about fear. And it was like she was flown there just for me, to talk to me and to tell me, you can do this, you can get past this, God can take this from you. And she related it to a story in the Bible about the prophet Elijah, who actually called down fire from heaven and proved that God is real to an entire nation. He was a pretty powerful guy. And then this woman, Jezebel, came and threatened his life, and he ran and hid in fear. And she was a very bad woman, and she just related Jezebel to fear. You know, we can do all these things for God, and we can think we've come so far, and one little thing can just send us running in fear. And that's exactly what I had done. Like, it was like I finally found the path that I was supposed to be on, the destiny that I was supposed to meet with my life. And the minute I was on the right track, I was just attacked by this fear, and it was literally a physical, paralyzing bondage in my life. And so she was talking about, at the end of that Bible story, Jezebel is actually thrown from a window. They throw her from a window and she dies. And that's what she just kept saying at the end of it. Like, you have to throw it down. You have to throw fear down. You have to throw away your shame. You have to throw away everything that holds you back. And I was just sitting there and I was crying and I was thinking, oh my God, this is me, but this isn't for me, this is for the youth, but this is for me. And I stood up and I just started to pray, and I just lifted up my hands. And I was just saying, God, this is it. Like, I don't know how to get past this anymore. I don't know if you want to take this from me. I don't know if you just want me to live the rest of my life like this. And if you do, I'll deal with it, but I don't think that you do. So this is your last chance, because if you don't do it today, I'm quitting. I'm not doing anything anymore. And I just began to pray, and just to worship God. And it was one of the only physical encounters I've ever had with God in my entire life. I felt fear just begin to be ripped out of like my spirit and out of my heart, and it was the most freeing feeling I ever felt. And I just started to ugly cry. And it was the boogers and the tears, and I sat down in my chair and I felt like I couldn't even stand anymore. It was so overwhelming. And people started to pray with me, and I just knew, like, in that moment, that fear was broken, and that I believed that fear was broken. And I wasn't going to walk out the door and say, well, the next time I have to sing, or the next time I have to write, or the next time I have to be in front of people, we'll see if my fear is really gone. I walked out declaring that my fear is gone, that I have no reason to be afraid, that God's love just poured over me in that moment, and His perfect love is what casts out all fear. And that's exactly what happened, and I just felt so overtaken by God's love. And since that moment, I have literally never felt that fear again. And it just like makes me crazy. I get so excited when I tell people, you don't have to live in that. You can, right now, in this moment, right where you're sitting, God can begin to move and can begin to take the fear out of your life and break those chains that hold you back, because it'll hold you back from everything that He wants for your life. And there's times I get nervous, because that's normal, but I don't walk in that fear.